peeps, we're back. Today we're talking about this thing here, the steering, and how to get this thing tracking down the road properly, and also how to look at any issues with slop play in the whole steering system. So sit back and enjoy, and we're going to tackle it today. You! Righto, so we're in the cabin, we've put everything together, and we're just going to go over the steering on this thing and just work out exactly how to get it central, so your steering wheel's not cockeyed like this when you're going down the road, and also just working out how much slop is okay and how much is too much and what you can do about it to fix it. So what I'm going to show you here, now the bus is actually off the ground, so the wheels are not on the ground at the moment, it's on the hoist. But what I'm going to show you here is just, if I actually just put my fingers on the steering and move it without feeling resistance from the tie rods pulling on the spindles and obviously turning the wheels, you can see I've got about, that's it. So there's that much play in the system without it actually doing anything, right? So once I get past there, I can now feel it tighten up, and that's when it's actually starting to do something with the steering. Now that's about spec. Like, that's pretty much what they came out from factory. So you've got about, look, if you were to measure that, you'd probably have 20, 30 mil, half inch, something like that, of movement before something starts to happen. Now, to try and iron that out completely, good luck. It ain't going to happen unless you're, you do conversions and stuff, which I am actually doing a rack and pinion conversion at a later date, so that will be a good one. So what we've got to play with now, this whole system's been completely overhauled. So in other words, every item of the steering system has been done. So the steering box, the ball joints, the tie rod arms, the center pin, all of it. And we're going to go over it. I'm going to jump under the bus and show you all those parts in motion. And if you've got a bus that has a lot more play than that, how to actually track it down and get it fixed. So let's dive under the bus, and I'm going to actually set some cameras up, and we're just going to have a look at this thing in motion, and I'll show you obviously what's going on underneath there. So hang on. Righto, so you can see here, this is the first bit of movement, and that's the center pin, just moving that back and forth just to give you an idea what's happening. Checking for slop. Obviously it's all been redone. And here's the tie rod arm ball joints. You can see that moving back and forth. Interesting there that you've got the dampener going in and out too. And next we've got the drop spindles moving back and forth. See that range of movement. Just interesting to see it, in movement from underneath. And now we have the pin from the steering box, and the ball joint draggling up the top there, moving that back and forth. And a different angle, same thing again, just moving that forward and back. You can see the whole bus is actually wobbling on the hoist, which kind of makes it looks like it's wobbling everywhere, but it's not. It's actually pretty good. Bit of play in the hoist there. And then lastly here, we've just got the bus going up in the air, which is kind of a cool shot. I like this, just going up on the hoist, get it up. Get a cool little angle. You don't see this very often. There you go, how's that? Very cool indeed. Get a nice view of the underneath of it. Alright, so that bit's all pretty much done. Righto guys, so we're going to start off with the steering box here, and you can see there's a couple of places on this where you can develop slop. You've got a shaft running inside here into the worm drive, and you've got some brass bushes in there. Now they can get sloppy, and you can actually end up getting some play in this direction. So one place to note is this rod or spindle running through there. If you see that moving like this, that's going to need obviously to be reconditioned. The bushes can be pressed out, and you've got to put new brass ones in there and ream them out and get a tight fitting again. So that's number one. That's where you're going to get your first bit of slop from. So you want to check that. I mean, it's good if you've got someone else in the bus, they can obviously be turning the steering wheel while you're under here watching all these components. That would be the first place I would look at, this Pitman arm here, and just see whether or not there's any kind of slop in here. Now, if you've got a leak coming out of here, chances are your rubber seal here has gone, and that will need replacing. And it's actually quite a generic seal, so it's not a hard piece to get. So second would be this drag link ball joint right here. Now, as you can see there is a thread, and this is the adjustable setup. So if your steering is cockeyed, so if you're going down the freeway and your steering wheel is not centered, this is where you adjust it. So you actually have to take off this nut here. You need a ball joint remover to pop this out of position, and it looks like this guy here. So that actually pops over like that, and you crank it up and pop your ball joint off. So you definitely need one of these in your arsenal of tools. And then obviously you can take it off and screw this in or out, which will adjust your arm and which will adjust your steering back into where it needs to be. So drag link bar. So check for slop in this ball joint here. Again, if you see it moving, slopping around, that's going to be a telltale sign. Obviously the other end over here, this one here, so that'll be the same deal. You need to adjust it. Now, if this is clapped out, you're going to have to replace the drag link bar, and there's no real other way to do it. I mean, you can cut and weld these if you want to just buy ball joints. You can do that. Third place would be the steering arm on the beam here. Again, you've got a shaft that runs down inside here with brass bushes, and when they wear out, and they do quite frequently wear out if they're not greased properly, you will find play in this. So again, you'll have this rod slopping around like that. So another good place to look out for, and that's really one of the main areas where you'll develop slop in your steering. And then as we move to the back here, you've got your two ball joints here, your tie rod arm ball joints, and then obviously these are adjustable too. And then you've got your ball joints over on your spindle. So you've got one there and obviously one over there. These are brand new as well. So after that, then you need to start looking at your spindle. Now obviously these ones have been reconditioned, they've been flipped, and of course, you know, we've checked out for slop inside them to make sure they're all Mickey Mouse in there. So that really is your spots of play to check for. So I always start from the steering box and move myself back. If you haven't got someone to help you, you can just put a camera underneath, you know, put your iPhone, put it on record, go up top, start moving your wheel, and that will definitely tell you what's going on with your play, whether you've got any or not. Now, when it comes to wheel alignment, there is a couple of different ways to do it. If you're going to do it with the bus in the air, it has to be one of the pit style ones where the wheels are loaded. Where, in other words, the suspension's got load on it, because obviously now this is in a full droop position. You're not going to be able to measure front and back of your rim to find out, you know, if you've got toe in, toe out on your front wheel. So you can't do it on a hoist like this, as I've got. I've got a couple of different ways that I do it. I use this guy here, which is just a rod, and all I've done is welded a nut on it, and that I'll pop that across here and take a measurement, and then obviously do it to the back, and again take a measurement and work out exactly the toe in and toe out for the front wheels. Rear is a different story, and we'll get into that in a second. With the fronts, the other way and the easy way to do it is actually get two pieces of paper, put them on the ground, and roll your vehicle over the top of the paper. And if the paper starts to skew and turn, then your alignment's out. Now, if you roll onto the paper and the paper just stays completely still, that means you're pretty much bang on where it needs to be. If you want to run that eighth toe in, which a lot of people do. You can obviously adjust it accordingly and put that in. My buses, I don't run any toe in at all. I run them dead straight. My airbag bus, which has air suspension on it, that's what they recommend from the manufacturer of the front beam, is to run it straight, no toe in at all. So now with these flipped spindle type buses, you know, you lose a bit of caster with that whole flipping situation, so you can tow them in just to make them a little bit more user friendly on the freeway. Now when we come back here to the rear of the bus, now again this isn't obviously a stock setup, it's a straight axle conversion, and it's running Beetle rear suspension components. So it's running rear shockers from a Beetle. They're the MP9652s I've got on the back of this one. Now adjusting these is a little bit different. They have a concentric hole in the spring plate, and if you look there carefully you can see top and bottom there's a little bit of a gap on those bolts, and if you come to the other side you'll notice that this one is not quite right. So that one's got less of a gap between the bolt head and the spring plate. So this actually does need to be adjusted. So it would probably be a little bit out. I'm not going to bother with it because I'm just going to take it to a suspension place and they'll stick it on a you know, a laser stand and do it properly there. So really, to get it just driving after a restoration, set the front up neutral, and worry about the rears at a, you know, reputable shop, because they're going to get it spot on. So, and it's a lot harder to do it here, trying to you know, move these and get them into position where they need to be. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the rears. Okay, so there's that bit of paper on the ground, and we're just going to roll the bus onto the paper like so. And you just watch the paper to see whether or not it starts to distort. And it's pretty good. Rolling along there. Let's try that again. Just rolling it onto the paper, making sure we're getting no distortion, no twisting from the paper, and that's pretty good. We'll just check the other side. Same thing here. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So if you had your alignment out, the paper would start to screw to the side. It would just sort of do a bit of a twisting motion. So that's sort of telling me that we're pretty bang on with this being straight ahead with the alignment. So happy with that for now. Like I said, you know, this is just to get the thing up and running and driving so we can give it a test drive down the track. You know, you take it to a dealer and get them to do it properly. So that's about all we can do today, guys. I'm still waiting on the grey vinyl to turn up. Then I can start getting all the door cards and interior cards all done. And I've still got the chrome trim to put around them as well. And once we're out of this lockdown, I can get the upholstery here and get the headlining in and get this bus on the road. I've got the mirrors still to come and a few other little bits and pieces, but yeah, she's pretty much almost finished. The seats, obviously, I've got to go and pick them up too. So that's about all we can do for now. But hopefully in the next couple of days I will get the vinyl here and we can continue on the interior trim and get that all completed. So for now, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever you like to do. It all helps the cause. I'll endeavour to do a few more videos as we go. Once I'm free to move around, I will be bringing my buses home, and then we've got heaps to do on those, which will be a lot of fun. So cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later. Woo!